In the last 4 years, I put on 103 pounds going from this to this, completely natural, all while being a full-time student in high school and university. Bulking up as a skinny guy while juggling exams, assignments, classes, and a social life wasn't easy, but I figured out exactly how to make it work. In this video, I'll break down everything I did to get jacked as a full-time student. Getting jacked as a full-time student, my scholarly struggles, and how I conquered class and eventually the world. Okay. In this video, I'm covering exactly what I ate when I was in high school and university, how I ate high-calorie meals quickly for cheap, keeping good marks through the entire process, not flunking out of school, how to save money on groceries, at least how I do it, a free 4,500 calorie a day meal plan for broke college kids, and how I ate it cheap. And finally, at the end, I'll share the biggest hack to getting bigger while in school. Let's rock. Quick summary about me personally. This was me when I started lifting when I was 16 years old in high school, 122 pounds, then got up to 135, 144 by the age of 17. And then things kind of went crazy when I went from 17 to 18. I did my first official bulk, gained a little bit of fat, but that's okay. That was my transformation in the first 2.5 years of lifting. And then when I got to university, things got pretty freakier. So that's my transformation. Let's rock. Quick disclaimer, you will have to eat at times when you don't feel like it. This isn't a weight loss journey. Going from skinny to jacked requires more inputs. Well, what's an input, you might be asking? Inputs are actions you make consistently to reach a goal. Eating a meal is an input. Training hard, getting to bed on time, these are inputs. These are things that you must do consistently to see the best results. So we'll start with food, which is arguably the hardest one. For the first 16 months of working out, I went from this to this without tracking any of my food or eating anything good. In fact, I didn't know tracking calories was even a thing. I knew protein built muscle, and that was the limit of my dietary knowledge. And so I survived on Bear Paws and the 2-liter Sprite I hid under my bed from my mom. True story. Somehow I built muscle and it worked. But once I got started on my first official bulk, I was tracking all my calories. Not well, but I started, which was the important thing. I personally use a food scale to track my food in grams, and then I log that into Fat Secret, which is my calorie tracking app on my phone. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. I wish I was. It's free, totally free to use. I've been using it for 3 years. It rocks. And so it worked really well. I was putting on size, but I wanted more. So I started packing foods that were easy to conceal, easy to chew, and didn't cost a lot of money. I call these my low maintenance meals. And so for a food to qualify as a low maintenance meal, it must check off at least one of the following points I'm going to show you. Not all of them, but just one. And if it checks off one, I likely ate it when I was in class. These are the points. I'd like it to be light in weight. I don't want to carry a big, massive meal with me into class. I want it to be easy to conceal. I can sneak it in and out without really anybody noticing. If I'm bulking up, which is kind of the point of this video, I'd like it to be high calorie, high protein, or both preferably. I don't want it to be loud when I chew them. I don't want to be inconveniencing other people. When I do chew it, I want it to be fast to chew and swallow. That way I'm not constantly masticating the food for minutes on end. I want it to be quick and easy. I don't want it to come in crinkly packaging. Again, about the noise thing. I don't want to be pissing other people off for no reason. I don't want it to be greasy or slimy. I don't want to have to wash my hands or worry about dirtying things because my hands are all greasy. I don't want it to stink bad. I'd like it to be resealable when opened. And optionally, if it doesn't require a fridge to keep it cool or a microwave to heat it up, that's nice too. So what are some examples of high maintenance meals? Meals that you probably shouldn't eat in class. Burgers, fries, shawarma, ice cream, salads, soups, pizza, crackers, any beverage in a can. About the resealable thing, if you open up a can of Coca-Cola and you crack it open, that can is now open and you cannot close it. So it can spill at any moment, highly inconvenient. I don't want to have chewy meats like chuck or round steak. Almost any Indian food smells pretty strong. A lot of it smells pretty bad too. And so I don't want to be causing an aroma in science class. And finally, I don't want food that crumbles in my hands. And a good example of that is any toasted sub from Subway. If you know, you know. Now, these are just some of the hundreds of foods that I tried to eat in class, but these ones were pretty much the worst ones. And so more specifically, they're either loud, hard to chew, greasy, crumbly, or they just stink. Not ideal for eating in an enclosed, quiet space like a classroom. But through my many, many failures, my mud searching, I actually came across some gold. These are my go-tos for low maintenance meals. Granola, trail mix, protein bars, high calorie shakes depending on where you are, any wrap or sandwich pretty much, nuts as long as no one's allergic, bananas, avocado, and rice mixed together, muffins, bagels, baked goods, pastries. All of these are super cheap to buy or make. They're all high calorie, most are high protein too, and they all check off at least one point on my low maintenance list. So we know what to eat, but when do I eat all this food? I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I eat before school, during lunch, during class, when I get home, and before bed. And I've noticed that almost every bulk fails, but not because of the food or the training or the common excuses you hear. Guys fail because of their lack of time management. So here's how I improve mine. First, I get to bed on time. If I get crap sleep or no sleep at all, I'm toast for the next day. So when I get to bed earlier, I get up earlier. And when I get up earlier, I can eat more. When you get bad sleep or no sleep at all, you are less focused and less consistent with your work. You're more irritable, you're more stressed, you're weaker, you're fatter, you're less confident. You're not very good in conversation. Your downstairs doesn't work as well. You get sick for longer, you get more sick, you get more acne everywhere, and overall just move slower through life. Not ideal. Next, I eat between classes. Now, it's obvious point, but if you have a 15 to 20 minute window in between one class and the next, that time should be spent eating. Simple to understand, but not always easy to do. And so at times you'll have to give up some fun things in order to eat. And that's okay. And real quick, I say sometimes you'll have to give up fun things, not every single time and not no times at all. You'll have to pick your battles, which events you want to miss out on. If you want to hang out with friends or you want to get your meal down, your results will reflect how consistent you are. And so the more you prioritize your fitness above everything else, the better your results are going to get. And so there's no real solution to balancing the social life, the job, the school, the business, the fitness. It's just trade-offs. And so you have to pick what you're willing to trade off. Some people are willing to trade off everything in order to get that one goal. That's when you get like a Michael Jordan or like a LeBron James type person, or you get someone who just wants to be okay at the goal. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just letting you know in advance that there's no real solution, only trade-offs. Finally, I bring a cooler, either a cooler bag or a box itself. And so these are the two things that I actually use. I took this picture on my porch. I bring that orange M&M bag you see if I'm on the move, if I need to be portable. That way I can put the ice packs in, utensils, meals, and I'm all good to go. I fortunately had a license, so when I drove to school, I just put this blue cooler in the back of my car, and then in between classes, I'd go to the car, grab a meal, and I'd be good to go. But either way, I had some place to store my meals. That way they stayed refrigerated, and I didn't have to worry about them going spoiled or having to carry them around with my hands all day. And the cool thing about having the bag is that if I'm caught in a long lecture in university, I can eat multiple meals without ever leaving the room, which is pretty cool. So how do I keep good marks while doing all of this? First off, I'll preface by saying my marks were above average, not 95 plus, but I consistently got honor roll and I had a 76 average in university. So not too bad, but not exactly Harvard bound, just so you know. To me, bulking is a game of numbers and time management. So once you know the number of calories you need to eat per day, and you disregard all the other things in life that don't lead to you getting that fitness goal, you progress a lot faster. School got harder when I hit university, obviously. Longer hours, tough professors, strict deadlines, I had to turn it up a notch. And so I ran into a little bit of a problem. My classes were way longer and I didn't want to be the weird kid who was always eating. So I started planning my meal times the night before. And so every night I'd sit down for 30 seconds with a pen and a piece of paper, writing down my meals and when I planned to eat them. And when those times came tomorrow, I ate. No exceptions. I did, however, always eat during this one class because my schedule was just too booked to avoid all the classes. And so I believe it was my sports business class where I constantly just was mucking food the entire time. And so that was a sacrifice I had to make. But for the most part, I was able to eat 3,500 to 4,500 calories a day without being the weird gym kid who's always eating or always training or doing the gym cell activities. Having the skill to manage my meals allowed me to be more social and enjoy other parts of life. But there were times when I had to give that stuff up. Some examples. These are sacrifices I felt I needed to make. If I had to choose between a meal and going out, I always picked meals. If I had to pick between getting to bed on time or homework due later, sometimes I'd pick the meals. I know it sounds bad, but that's exactly what I did. I was never a big drinker. I'm not someone who likes to get super wasted. I've been drunk twice in my life, and both times I wake up the next morning feeling not that good or waking up late. I hate that. I got work to do. So I avoid excessive drinking personally. And like I said, I always ate at school during that one class, but sometimes I'd miss out hanging out with friends in order to eat at school. And during this one class, I always got called out for constantly eating. So you get teased a little bit here and there. And since most of my attention was dedicated towards fitness and my upcoming business, my marks did start to go down. Was that necessary? Did the marks have to fall? To me, yes. I knew that I didn't want any of the jobs that came with my degree pretty early on in university. It didn't take me long to figure out that this wasn't the path for me. After a long time deciding and a longer talk with my parents, I dropped out of university to pursue the incredible bulk full time. I want to change the lives of guys like me, and it's pretty tough to do as a junior intern at some company. So those were sacrifices I felt I needed to make. But what about the ones that weren't as necessary? Sometimes I didn't manage my time well and I was forced to eat during class. This led to me being the weird gym kid. When I didn't manage my meals, my training, and my sleep, I missed out on a lot of social events. I started off very skinny, and so I never wanted to go back to that. For a long time, I'd stress so hard about making gains, and I was so afraid that I wasn't doing enough to see progress. And there were some classes where I just didn't pay attention at all because I was trying to learn about fitness and business. My day wasn't that busy that I couldn't spare an hour to focus on class, but I was just loving building the business so much that was my entire focus. It's my strongest belief that if you truly want something, like actually want it despite what other people say, you will make the tough calls. You will do the weird things. Not saying you have to do everything I did. This is a bit extreme for a lot of people. This is just what worked for me and what I felt would be best to bring me to where I want to go. And yes, I could have given up less and gotten the same results, but I can't go back and change it. The moral of this part, it's better to be too uptight than too laid back, in my opinion. And until you've gotten the results you want from either fitness, business, relationships, life, you won't know which is which. You won't know if you're too uptight or too laid back. So the best advice I can give is go as hard as you know how and then keep pushing even further. Is it a sacrifice to want to get bigger as a full-time student? Not really. I don't think so. If you want the result, you'll pay the cost. And sometimes the cost is high. That doesn't mean you have to be a weirdo or an incel about making gains, but the price of making gains is the price. Speaking of price, let's talk money. Now, bulking up can be expensive if you do it wrong, but if you do it right, it's actually cheaper than what your current diet looks like. Here's my exact plate eating over 4,500 calories a day for under $24. And so I'm gonna use one of my 50 free custom meal plans as an example for the video. There'll also be a link for it in the description. Meal 1, $3.09. I'm not gonna run over all the meals, but I'm gonna skip through them real quick. Meal 2, $6.13. All the macros, calories listed. Meal 3, dirt cheap, healthy food. A little bit of dessert, pizza and cookies, but hey, why not? We're bulking. And then finally, we got some rolled oats with some fresh fruit, beef and broccoli. Now we got all the macros, all the calories, the cost per day, $23.88 before tax. And you might be wondering yourself, what is that gorgeous, sexy design on the right? That is the Scholars Save Me Foods. And so quick disclaimer, typically when I give out a custom meal plan, it'll come with a grocery list showing the foods in exact amounts. But this plan's a little bit different. A lot of college and university students live on campus, and so they don't eat their foods from groceries. They don't go to Walmart all the time. Most of the time, their meals are coming from the cafeteria or the school dining hall. And so you'll notice all the foods on that meal plan are super basic because I wanted to have all the foods match the same foods and meals that are served in North American universities. But sometimes the foods on the plan aren't gonna match what's served in your university cafeteria or dining hall. And so I have the Scholarly Save Me Foods, which is my plan B to the meals on the plan. And so let's just say you don't have oats in your university being served that day or at all. You can look at the Scholarly Save Me Foods. It'll tell you what foods you can replace it with. Let's just say it says white rice in the corresponding serving size according to the amount of oats you should be eating on the plan. And another thing, this 4,500 calorie meal plan is super general. It doesn't take into account your schedule, your social life, your school life, your work life, your dietary preferences, allergies, cost of eating per day, none of that stuff. It's just a general meal plan. And you probably won't have to eat 4,500 calories a day. That's a lot of food for most people. And that's why I tailor make my meal plans to suit them for my clients' lives for way cheaper than 24 bucks a day. And so if you're looking to put on muscle right now, you can go to theincrediblebulk.ca/join and we can talk one-on-one, sort out your plan and get you growing without any plateaus. And if you're not interested in that at all, not a problem. You're gonna love what I have next. As I initially promised, my biggest hack to getting more jacked while in school full time. You're probably not gonna like it. Work as hard as you know how. And so in school, in fitness, in meals, with your relationships, all of it, work as hard as you possibly can during the day. This is why. Your ability to work hard itself is trainable. Most people that are sad because they have nothing to do. I personally translate that as no goals to shoot for. You could call it passion, but you typically enjoy the things that you're good at. So how do we get good at things so that we eventually enjoy them? The answer, we start by sucking and we have the heart to keep going even when we want to quit. Eventually, we will suck less. Then we get good. And so not only do you find your passion from working hard, but you find that you have a lot more time in the day than you first realized, because if you're spending your time working hard, you are getting more done in less time. And so that frees up the rest of your day to do the fun stuff. I spent 4 hours a day working out to look like this. Not kidding. 4 hours every single day, 6 to 7 days a week. so that I could spend 2 hours a week to look like this. And that "so that" is extremely undervalued because sometimes you will have to overestimate how much is needed before you find your groove. And like I said earlier, if you're going for a big goal like building muscle or succeeding in school, it's usually better to be more uptight and militant with your approach than someone who's laissez-faire, laid back, and let things happen. Because if you look at two alternate futures of you, you have the you that worked really hard but didn't have a whole lot of fun in the process, and the you that had a ton of fun in the process but didn't really work that hard. You'd like to be somewhere in the middle. When in doubt, err towards this side. Err towards the guy who's going to work harder but sometimes not have as much fun. And so you can try to balance it between the two, but I would err towards the more skilled guy because you can use those skills later on, and there's always going to be time for more fun. To conclude what you can do today, right now, after watching this video, start by planning tomorrow's meals tonight. Take 30 seconds, write down with a pen and paper when you plan to eat, and then eat at those times the next day. Try to get to bed on time. Limit the size of the meals that you're eating for more comfort when you are eating. Bring a cooler bag or box depending on if you're driving a car or you're walking and you need to carry your meals. Eat around classes, but sometimes you're going to have to eat through them. Just accept that as a fact. Try not to be annoying when you eat. You don't want the greasy, slimy, slobbery, loud, smelly foods. Don't be that weird guy. Pack your meals based on your schedule. If you know that you can't muck steak, rice, potatoes, and lasagna during your biology class, but you can down a high-calorie shake, make a high-calorie shake. And finally, work as hard as you possibly can. I promise you, in hindsight, you will not regret it. Guys, that was getting jacked as a full-time student. Now, there's a billion different tips that I could throw at you. I've tried so many different things in order to master my time management. There's so much detail, so much nuance to getting bigger, but at the end of the day, it just lies into three things: eating all your meals, training hard, and getting to bed on time. If you're doing those three things every single day, the gains will come, I promise. I don't have as many tips as I would usually have in other videos for this because you don't need 50 or 60 different things to take action. Just pick one or two things from the video that stuck out to you, try them today. If it works, keep doing them. If it doesn't work, pick something else from the video. My greatest hope for this video is that you take action. You see where you are in the process. You see, maybe I struggle with my meals. Maybe I struggle with my time management. Maybe I struggle with my stress. Maybe I'm debating dropping out of school to pursue a business or pursue another career. I hope this video kind of shows you where you are in the cycle, at least through my experience. And if not, hopefully it was entertaining and you learned a little something. So guys, I've been George Tressiter. I still am George Tressiter, founder of The Incredible Bulk, where we take very skinny guys and turn them into very jacked guys. So I'm super happy to make these videos for you guys. Let me know if this is something you're still interested in, if you want to learn more about getting jacked as a different type of person. I got business owners coming. I got full-time workers, all different types of peoples with all different types of dietary restrictions. And so my goal is to save the skinny guys, essentially, because I don't think there's many people coming to save people like me, people like us, where a lot of fitness is focused on weight loss. A lot of fitness is focused on, getting shredded and looking peeled for social media, having the veins and everything like that. But there's not really an answer for the guys who want to get bigger. And of course you hear, eat more food. Well, you could say the same for a fat person, just eat less food and move more, but they don't do that, do they? They have Weight Watchers, they have Jenny Craig, the Mayo Clinic, they have all these companies that focus on weight loss, but there's not really anyone that focuses on gaining good weight. Now, I am not saying get fat, I'm saying get jacked. And if you want to get jacked, go to theincrediblebulk.ca, check out our profile, check out our testimonials. Everything is dialed in and I'm ready to serve you one-on-one. So if that interests you, go check it out. It'll be the first link in the description. So guys, I appreciate you for checking in. If you're still watching up until this point, I hope that you take action somewhere. See you next time. Peace. Bye.